Welcome my fellow gamers and Going Medieval fans to another player construction showcase. My name is Peter and this time I have for you a video of Luftwolf's Wolf Den village, as he has sent me his save file where he has upgraded the village using all the new items which came in the first content patch. Besides this, you will see a number of other villages, even some underground ones, then castles and huge single structures made by other players. If you want me to showcase your village or structure, send me the screenshots or even better the save file at the email address in the description, where you will also find the link to the previous showcase episode and my guides about this game. So here is Luftwolf's Wolf Den in its all square limestone glory. We can best appreciate this castle's defenses from a distance. The thick outer curtain wall is not particularly tall, but the massive number of melorans, or as they are better known, battlements, make it much cooler to look at, especially since this player took the time to construct them both on the outside and inner walls, and then again in the main castle structure. The four corners are dominated by large towers with windows on each floor for extra protected shooting angles. Even the inner towers, which are part of the main castle, are connected to the curtain wall, allowing faster movement between parts of the defenses. The angled part of the roof is topped off with a nice touch in the form of a single banner. Zooming in, we can see that lacking any type of a ditch, the reinforced doors are protected by metal traps. These continue inside and right into a bunch of red currant bushes, which actually have a function of slowing down enemies if they go into them instead of using the clay brick roads. Behind the second set of reinforced doors is the inner castle with its own multiple levels. Between the outer and inner walls are the fields where Luftwolf grows all his food and even some trees, so he can gather wood in the safety of his own castle grounds, but also to make it more beautiful. Right under the roof section is the 2 levels high Great Hall with both dining tables and backgammon tables. This level also features both the temple and church, as well as very roomy single bedrooms with tables and double braziers. The surprise is the identical lower floor with the same number and position of such bedrooms. So it is not until we get down to the ground floor that we see the first workbenches and specialized rooms. Each one of these is 7x7 and they are set in a 3x3 pattern. The kilns, furnaces and smokehouses are kept outside but under a roof. The individual workrooms are supported by wooden beams spreading from the middle pillar in each room, around which we find both torches and braziers. This is quite the efficient design because everything is so close together and settlers can sleep, eat, pray, play and work without spending much time on moving about. The corridors around workrooms lead to corner staircases which run up to the main castle towers, again shortening routes when manning the walls is required. And in this corner of the castle grounds we find multiple pyres, under which there is an actual mausoleum with open and ready caskets, all stacked nice and neat, almost spooky. Going back to the main keep, right under the workshops, we have very large open spaces with stockpiles of individual final products, everything from metal bars to bricks, and also a section reserved for weapons and armor racks. With this open room design, it's easier to see the interesting 5-point pattern designed for wooden beams and stability supports. It's just like 5 dot signs on dice. If you would like to learn more about stability mechanics and building in this game, I have a separate guide about that. The armor racks hold only the highest quality clothing as well as steel armor and helmets, while the weapon racks are filled with crossbows. Under this level, Luftwolf has used the shelves to store linen and leather materials separately, while keeping all 3 kinds of drinks on separate stockpiles. Stockpiles which are exact copies in size and position of the ones in the above level. And that is a design that is kept as you go down even deeper with another open level covered in stockpiles, but here they hold raw materials: hay, sticks, salt and the rest, but also all the books in the middle of the floor on many large bookshelves. Interestingly enough, even the bones are kept here. Lastly, we again have weapon and armor racks, this time with lower quality clothing, helmets and melee weapons. I think you get both the symmetry and quality order at this point. This might be a medieval castle, but it is designed like a high-tech server room. At the bottom, we find the food basement with herbs, meat and medical supplies stored on a massive number of shelves, all orderly as we are used to by now. There is every kind of raw and cooked meal possible stored here. You might miss it, so I will point out the detail of candles being used on this level, not torches, to avoid the temperature going up. But the most notable thing about the basement are these 4 sides made up of hundreds of individual dirt pillars, all connected by wooden beams. There are several reasons for this honeycomb construction. First, the larger underground space lowers the ambient temperature, helping to keep the food fresh. Second, if enemy trebuchets attack and somehow target lower levels, which has happened before to Luftwolf, these pillars and wooden beams act as targets instead of the actual castle support pillars, softening the blow, so to speak, and shielding the main structure. Zooming in and out of this castle and its grounds always leaves me in awe. Now, before moving on to the screenshots of other villages and buildings, I would like to remind you to hit that like button if you have been enjoying this showcase, comment your topic suggestions for further videos about going medieval, and subscribe if you haven't already to see more videos like this one. Now we will take a look at something quite different. It is a castle, but it's dug right into the side of a mountain. It reminded me of Khazad-dûm or Moria from Lord of the Rings when I first saw it. It has this beautiful multi-level entrance worked into the face of this rounded mountainside. I can only guess that it was made so by the player because it is very unlikely the random map generator made it so curved. Looking inside, we find a 4-level deep hole from where a huge staircase goes up to what seems like a throne room with 2 seats at the top. Back at the entrance, there are 2 rooms which look like guard posts to me, while to the right and left of the middle are food storage with a kitchen and a butchering station separate on each side. This can be seen in more detail in the next screenshot, which goes 1 level down, while still showing us a lot of the details from the previous level. Now we can spot a library at the far left next to the throne room. The temple and church are next to it, accessible through that throne room, which looks like it serves as a great hall as well, with both dining and backgammon tables. On the right side there are many more rooms. Some are for food or weapon storage and the rest are single bedrooms. An interesting design choice here is the extra single space dug in the back of each room, which spots a brazier, not something I have seen anyone build before. The food is actually grown on the slopes of this mountain outside the keep and then brought and stored here for cooking. All in all, a fantastic design and a beautiful fantasy-inspired underground village. Next, I want to show you an impressive single building construction project. I found a video of it, so it's easier to see it from many angles. One important note is that it is more of an art project than a functioning building, but that does not negate its complex design. The inspiration for this construction project is obviously 17th century cathedrals, and this build is a really detailed recreation, even down to the outside support pillars, perfectly evenly spaced windows, small roof sections on top of pillars, the middle roof section, and the size scale between towers and the main structure. Looking at it, you just know someone had to spend a lot of time planning and building this. I just can't get over the fact that they showcased it during the night, but had no torches or anything. Oh, and do note, this wasn't built by settlers, but manually by the player using a mod to unlock the developer's toolbox, as you can see in the top menu bar. This is the same tool another player used to help him design this insane village / castle / medieval settlement build, but settlers do live here and have helped to construct it. Its size is ludicrous to the nth degree, and it covers almost the entire map, taking several minutes to load according to its creator. It has the thickest and in places the highest walls I have ever seen, while the castle in the middle is in a league of its own. It's hard to even choose where to begin, and it's almost impossible to make a short overview of it, so I will definitely have to come back to it once I finally get my hands on the original save file from this player. The entrance itself is the size of some of my entire villages, and the walls are a dozen tiles stick in places. The guards next to the doors have everything from beds to sleep in, to shelves with packaged food and tables to eat it at. I'm not even going to try and count the traps. The inner courtyard is filled with all sorts of small, medium and large separate buildings like extra living quarters, the temple and church. This settlement is so big, settlers have to have places to sleep and eat all over as to not waste too much time just moving around. Besides these noteworthy buildings, there are other interesting spots to look through. The private cemetery with a fence, trees, shrines and other small touches being one of them. As you were probably expecting, yes, there is a huge and ostentatious Great Hall, but what I bet you didn't expect was for it to be topped off with a throne under the open sky at the castle's roof. There is even an inner courtyard in the middle of the castle. The walls are all again really thick because entire rooms are set in them. Just like all the previous players, this one spent a lot of time setting up many merlons on all the wall faces and sides. There are surprisingly few underground sections here, but at least some are always needed to keep the food fresh. As expected, this too is huge. As I said, I cannot do enough justice to this settlement with just this overview, so I will make sure to come back to it again for a more in-depth look. To give you a good contrast to that insane build, let's do a mini look at a much more compact but still big single structure. I don't have a lot of angles on it besides the screenshots with and without snow, but what sets it apart is the fact that it is made out of wood and not limestone. To be honest, it kinda looks better in winter than the buildings and settlements made out of limestone bricks. Its interesting feature are its circular shape, with the middle section having another raised level and the sky bridge leading to a whole other tower of some sorts. The braziers set on the top of the roof are a really interesting touch. It's not something I have seen used in that way before, but it's a fantastic idea, especially how it looks during winter nights. There is another and much different project made by the same player, but I will show it off to you in the next episode. While collecting these screenshots, I came upon another absolutely massive single building, again inspired by the architecture of cathedrals. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to find more shots of it, so we cannot take a look inside of it. If you are the creator of this building or know who it is, please let me know in the comments. I want to take a better look at it in a future showcase. For the last castle settlement of this episode, I wasn't sure should I choose the White City or the dark one, but as there are almost no clay brick construction projects, I went with this one. Its snowy winter night profile looks like something you would frame and put over a fireplace in your living room. It's more art than medieval settlement. For some reason, I get a Halloween vibe when looking at it during nighttime with all the outside braziers. The settlement itself is less sprawling than the previous ones we looked at during this video, but it's no less fantastic. The main keep's shape and its windows placement and density reminds me more of modern day fantasy hotels than medieval castles, or possibly something from a Disney fairy tale and 18th century castle/manor houses. Outside we have a simple large courtyard with some plants, in front of which is the oddest set of double doors and traps I have ever seen. I was further confused by the holes set in the walls next to the doors. I can only assume it's all part of some defensive design where ranged weapons shoot at the enemies as they are breaking down those doors. On each side we have nice tree lines and more crops at the back of the castle. The walls are not thick and there are no battlements on them, which makes for more evidence that the design is more contemporary rather than medieval. So this whole settlement, starting from its construction material and all the way to its main keep design, is definitely one of the more unique ones. I was very happy to find one such settlement, as it will probably give you more ideas for designing your own villages, castles and settlements. This is also the aim of one of my other videos, the one on village design part 1, whose part 2 I am currently working on. link up here and in the description. I hope you have enjoyed the second player construction showcase, and besides the White City, in the next episode I will showcase to you more amazing and awe-inspiring builds the player base of this incredibly fun and versatile game have created. To get your settlement or structure featured, send me screenshots or save files to the email in the description. Thank you for watching and happy gaming!